Tired of fantasy literature that caters only to wine-ounts and activists? Tired of love triangles and unlikable girl bosses? Tired of propaganda disguised as entertainment? If so, check the Guilds of Avlaan series, a series like no other ever written in the Western market, with cute and funny female leads and dashing male protagonists. This series is full of adventure and exciting landscapes. Do not let others decide what you enjoy. Look for what you enjoy. If you are interested, the link is in the description. Hello, Leonardo Cornejo here with another video. And today I want to talk about something slightly controversial, and mostly because there are people trying to censor what I like again. Again and again and again, it never stops. And this time it's about hentai, and it's art. And that's the thing, it's art. I don't consider it pornography. I consider it a separate thing because I think it has artistic value, which pornography doesn't have. And that's the important part. That's where I'm heading with this, because I'm going to talk about my proposed solution to the problem. And it has multiple parts. First of all, to recognize that fiction is not reality and doesn't affect reality directly. That drawings are not people, and drawings have no rights, no pain, and also are not subjected to the law. They have no legal obligations. They have basically that drawings are not real. That's the first part. The second part is then what do we do with the pornography, because that's the thing. There is this discourse about banning pornography, and even people who support hentai have considered banning pornography. Personally, I find it disgusting. Certain types of erotic content, certain types of adult content, which are in the category of pornography, I find them extremely disgusting. Not all. I don't think, for example, a striptease video is the same as an orgy video. I find the orgy disgusting. I think the striptease is artistic too. But that's where I begin. I think we need very strict laws about what can and cannot be done regarding adult content and adult content creators. And that for the first time, I think age-based laws can serve a purpose. First of all, I think the age for all pornography, all adult content in regards to real people, basically the participant should be at least 20 years old. Why? To prevent cases like this Lil Tay, I think it was her name, who basically made erotic content of herself, and the moment she turned 18, she published it. But it was made before she turned 18. So to prevent such cases, which could be a problem, the minimum age should be 20. So basically, it would be harder for that to happen. It would be a bit of a deterrent for such behavior. So basically, to prevent girls to hurt themselves of the moment they turn 18. That's the first rule I think should apply to pornography, and that's it will be the primary focus of this video, because I think the only way to solve things is to come up with rules for it. I have mentioned before that I have some ideas. I could be mistaken, I could change my mind, but I have some ideas regarding this which I think would be better for society. The second, pornographic content featuring couples should be legal only with couples, that is, married couples, and they should not be allowed to divorce. The moment they engage in pornography, they are no longer eligible for divorce unless the situation really requires it. Basically, cases like abuse. I think no fault divorce should be erased completely, but in the meantime, they shouldn't be eligible for for divorce under normal circumstances, or for economic reasons or whatever. They should prove that the divorce is strictly necessary, and they shouldn't be allowed to divorce until like 2 years after the creation of the content of the latest piece, basically to prevent promiscuity and to prevent STDs and to damage the orgy industry. And last but not least, because legalization is equals regulation in this case, and this is one of the few cases where the government should get too involved, and more than the government, the law. As I already said, solo content at least 20 years old. Couple content, only married couples. And last but not least, because it's connected, prostitution. What to do with prostitution? Legalize it, but the minimum age is 40. The minimum age is 40. Why? Because that will reduce the chances of the prostitute getting pregnant as she gets older and closer to menopause. In fact, I would say not age based, but rather developmentally based. Menopause. Women can become prostitutes after menopause to prevent unwanted pregnancies. They should not be married, and they no longer become eligible for marriage. Basically, the moment a woman becomes a prostitute who is already at this point she's already postmenopausal, she can no longer have children, she can no longer get married, and she can work herself out as much as she wants. And if she gets an STD, she has the obligation of making it public, and she loses the right for medical treatments for STDs, specifically for STDs, and her clients must know. So basically, yeah, fuck them over, because I don't like prostitution, because I think prostitution is absolutely abhorrent, and that's why I want such laws. And in the case of prostitutes, yeah, they can engage in the most disgusting acts of pornography because they can no longer be married. That's the other. For example, if you want to watch content featuring orgies, go get a prostitute, because they are the only ones, and therefore all the orgy content, all the black content will be only performed by prostitutes who are already in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Additionally, and this is because I really think it's necessary, certain degrading forms of pornography would be limited only to prostitutes or entirely banned. For example, interracial pornography with a focus on race. That is not to say a couple that is interracial, but things like black, you know what I'm talking about. Basically racist pornographic content. If it is not racist, that's fine. If they are a married couple who are happily together, and they happen to be of different races, yeah, that's fine. But when it comes to that kind of degrading racist content, only prostitutes or entirely banned. Same in general with things like water sports, all those kinds of extreme pornography, even BDSM. I think it should be limited only to prostitutes or couples in the case they have, for example, I don't know, engaged in some bureaucracy, fill the form and confirm that they do engage in BDSM as part of their natural relationship. Basically, either couples that are living their lives naturally or prostitutes for all the extreme fetish content. And in fiction, that's the important part. That's the important part, the legal part. In fiction, anything goes. You only put an age rating. So basically, it says parental advisory 18 only. Fuck off if you are a minor, and that's it. Everything goes. Even the most depraved, degenerate things, if they are in fiction, anything goes. Except when they have a propagandistic purpose. I think propaganda should be illegal entirely. I think propaganda shouldn't be considered free speech, and specifically leftist propaganda should be illegal. That's how I think we will solve the problem and end the debate once and for all. Because basically, it's not pornography anymore. It's fiction. It's not pornography anymore. It's considered erotic art. Uh, it's tasteful nudity, and that's an exception I would add to all these rules. Tasteful nudity. It's not pornographic. It's art. It's legal. Uh, Pornography depends on the guidelines I already established, and that would solve the problem. I think that would absolutely solve the problem. I think after applying these laws, the pornography debate will be over, because you will no longer have this rampant hyperconsumption of pornography, and you wouldn't have this incentive to make pornography. Only among people who are not precisely the most desirable would there will be an incentive. Basically, you will de-incentivize the hyper pornographization of society, and you would allow still some pornography, which would give an outlet to people and would reduce the addiction to pornography without a complete prohibition, by preventing, as I said, anyone below 20 from engaging in all forms of pornography, including solo nudity, by preventing orgies and in general group activity unless they are prostitutes who are already past their prime, and by preventing anyone but couples from engaging in sex in front of a camera, with the exception, as I said, from prostitutes who are already past their prime. That will solve a lot of problems, and of course, by making sure there are enough deterrents to make sure there are no fake express couples. You know, the kind of thing that some Islamic countries and other countries in Asia and Middle East do, of these express marriages where they marry the prostitute, have sex with her, divorce the same day. That wouldn't be allowed. That wouldn't be allowed to happen. As I said, that would be why there will be like 1 year before they can even apply of divorce after the latest production. So basically, if they have been producing for 3 years, it's the last one where the counter starts, and after a year they can initiate divorce, but only if the divorce is extremely necessary, and if they really can't wait for the year, for example, for cases of violence or something like that, they need to call the cops, and the cops will investigate and ensure that it is real. And if it is real, well, there will be consequences for the wife beater, to put it simply. So basically, either you prove it is strictly necessary because you are in danger, or you can divorce if you engage in pornography, and that would actually, ironically, create more marriages, create more children. Also, no contraception for all the adult industry. Contraception is forbidden, including prostitutes. Contraception is forbidden. Well, they are supposed to be postmenopausal already, so they can't get pregnant, and no abortions either. And in the case of couples, well, no contraception. You will have to have children. So basically, if you engage in pornography, you are already over 20, you are a married couple, and you are going to face the consequences of your actions, or enjoy the wonders of voyeurism by the side of the wonders of becoming a parent. Basically, if you want to have a healthy relationship and just do pornography on the side, it will be excellent for you. But if you just want to fuck around, you are finding out. That's my proposal. That's how I will solve the problem and finally separate the discourse of hentai from the discourse of pornography, and in general reduce the negative effects of pornography. If people basically associate sex with pregnancy, with having a child, even if they see it in an erotic context, I think it will benefit society. If basically it will create this association of these people are having sex on camera, and they are a married couple, and they are having children together, it will create a more healthy environment, I think. I think I solved the problem. I could be wrong. Whenever I talk about these like proposals of how to improve society, I always say I could be wrong. I could be absolutely mistaken. But I think it's better than having discourses on how to ban things and how to screw the other side over. Of course, I do absolutely want to screw the side of orgies and extreme fetish degrading porn over, because I think they are harmful to society, because I think they are absolutely immoral and evil. But I in general don't think all pornography is the same, and I certainly don't think erotic art is the same as pornography. So I want to basically put them separate, keep them separate, and make sure they are not seen as the same, they are not treated as the same. And since one is not the same as the other, well, that's my proposed solution. I could be wrong, I could be absolutely mistaken, I know I could be. Well, I think I'm not. I'm confident in my proposal being more functional, at least in comparison to the current state of affairs. So well, that's it for today. Have a good one.